Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're all well. Right, okay, so today just wanted to make a video and talk about the collection and what's happened with it, where I'm going with it, and what's going to happen with the channel, I suppose, going forward. So as you can see, there ain't a lot of games back there anymore. And if you've been watching for a while, you know that my collection has dwindled quite a lot. I've sold a lot of stuff, reduced the collection right the way down. And you might remember that last year, I actually sold my American Super Nintendo collection. Now, if you've watched me for a while now, you'll know that the Super Nintendo collection was my main collection, and I got a substantial amount of games. I think I got somewhere around about the region of 122, 124 box games, something like that. So it was a large collection. I was really happy with it. It was great, and I never wanted to sell it, but I was always aware that if it ever got to a point where I had to sell it and I had no choice, that I would do. I'm not one of these people that's just going to hang on to it and just, suffer in life because, well, suffer's a harsh word, but you know what I mean. Shit happens in life and sometimes you have to adjust your priorities, and that's what happened to me last year. And I couldn't afford financially to keep that collection as much as I wanted to. Now, at the time, you remember I sold the collection, and the main reason was financial, as I say, but also my mindset at the time was that I wanted to get back to the Super Famicom, which was the first console I ever bought when I started collecting back in around 2003, 2004. So I thought, well, what I'll do at the time was I'll sell the Super Nintendo collection because it was worth a lot of money at the time, get a good amount of money out of that, which I did. I got a decent chunk, and then I went and purchased the Super Famicom, and I picked up some games for it, and I thought, yeah, this is the right way to go because the Super Famicom is really cheap compared to the American and the PAL Super Nintendo games, although to be fair, some of the games on the Japanese market are starting to rise a little bit now, and they are becoming quite competitive with the American and PAL markets. But nonetheless, the majority of games are a lot cheaper and a lot easier to come by in good condition. So I thought I was on the right track doing that. And I went out and bought the console. You saw me doing an unboxing of that. I bought a few games for it. I was really enjoying the system. Super Nintendo, whatever version it is, whichever region it comes from, it's still my favourite console of all time. So it is the one I want to collect for. The thing is, what the problem I had was I got the Super Famicom and I loved it. I thought it was great. I was enjoying it, playing it, but I never felt the need to buy games for it. It was really weird because yeah, it has the best box art. There are a lot of great Japanese exclusives, but something just didn't. I don't know what it was. Something didn't sit right for me, and I just didn't have any urge or didn't make any effort to go and buy any Japanese games. I wasn't interested. It's really weird. I picked up quite a few to start with. I was really enjoying it. I got into it, and then it just got to a point. I didn't even really think about it. I just weren't buying games for it. And a year down the line, I'm thinking, this was like a couple of months ago. I thought, well, why have I got this? What is the point? And I started to think about the American games again, and I started thinking about the American console, and I thought, you know what? I kind of miss it, and I had to sell it because I had to. It wasn't because I wanted to. I never would have sold it had I not needed to at the time. And yeah, so I thought, well, you know what? Sod it. So as you can see, the shelves are empty. The Super Famicom collection went a couple of months ago. I sold it on eBay, all in one package, just got rid of the lot to one seller. The box console, the games, the lot just went. And I went ahead and I picked up myself a loose American Super Nintendo again. With the foresight, that's probably not the right word to use, is it? With the intention, that's what I'm thinking of, with the intention of just taking my time and just gradually rebuilding the American Super Nintendo collection. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to have it as big as I did last time. I don't know at this point. I'm not setting any number to achieve or any goals whatsoever. I've made a list. I've gone through all the games that I used to have. And I know now, or know now. It's what happens when you're a Brummy, your words get a bit mixed up and they sound crap. I'm now aware that I know what games I like to play, which ones I don't like to play. And I had a fair few filler games last time, games which I was picking up because I've never played them, didn't know anything about them, and I just thought they looked interesting. I got to the point where I bought all the games I really wanted, all the essential games that everyone likes, and all the games that I liked. And except for a couple because I couldn't afford them. They were going to be games I was going to pick up in the future and I had more money. But I just thought at the time, I'll just pick these games up. Games like Pinocchio and Yogi Bear, Inspector Gadget, Izzy's Quest for the Olympic Rings, and a couple of others. And I just thought, well, why not? Just give them a go. They're only cheap, so if you don't like them, it don't matter. And yeah, I won't be doing that this time because I know what I like and what I don't like. Now, there are a couple of games that I never managed to pick up last time. Some that are really expensive and are even more expensive now, so that eventually I will get those. It's going to be, God knows when. It could be a year or two, I don't know. Who knows when that'll happen. It won't be happening anytime soon because they're really, really expensive. And then there are a couple of games that I just never got around to buying. And they're not expensive anymore, they're quite achievable. Just for some reason, I just never got around to picking them up last time. So that's the intention. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to add some more Super Nintendo to that shelf. I've got the console. The console's in really nice condition, really happy with it. It's nice and clean, no yellowing, which is always a good sign. I got a good deal on that price-wise as well, which was excellent. And I have gone ahead and picked up 2 games so far. So I'm taking it easy, not rushing it. I'm trying not to. It's hard not to just go on eBay and when I'm doing it every day, just looking anyway, which I shouldn't be. But yeah, first game I picked up. What I wanted to do with the first game, I wanted to pick up a game that I've never completed, that I knew was going to take a fair bit of play, and that way it would be a game where I can sit down, actually play it and enjoy it more than I ever did before, because most of the time I was making YouTube videos and not really playing the games as much as I should have done, which you see a lot of YouTubers do after a while. They sort of, not so much burn out, but they get to that point that they go, you know what, I should be playing the games more than making YouTube videos. So it's tough to get that balance sometimes. But yeah, I decided to go for a game that I wanted to complete that I hadn't before. And it's a game that I never played when it came out in the 90s. I'd moved on at that point. I can't remember why. It was either I'd sold the Super Nintendo at that point, I'd moved on to the PlayStation. It was around that time anyway. So you're probably going to guess what it was. It was that period of time. But yeah, never completed it. Wanted to complete it. Last time I had the American Super Nintendo collection, I got quite far, but never managed to clock the game. I did manage to finish it a couple of days ago and I was really chuffed. So I wanted the idea was to buy the game, play through it and then buy another one. I did unfortunately, well not unfortunately, but I did go out and buy another game in between because I just couldn't resist it. It was a good deal. But the first game I picked up, guys, is Donkey Kong Country. So it's just cars. I wonder what that noise one is. There's traffic outside. Some lunatic chav just speeding up and down. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so I went out and bought Donkey Kong Country in great shape, box complete, all the usual. So it's absolutely brilliant. I managed to actually clock it a couple of days ago. I put a post on Twitter which went down like a storm, which I was really happy about. I was proper chuffed with myself because I've never done it. Although, unfortunately, I got to the end of the game, got to K. Rool. I was like, I can't believe I'm actually here. I finally did it. There's one level not long before you get to K. Rool where it's not light, but the screen just goes black, like the lights are going out. But on some levels you have a light which you can hit an on and off button, which will switch the light on and off, and you can control it. On this level it just goes black every so often for like a couple of seconds, and you've got multiple jumps. You have to really work out what's coming up and get your timing right and not hit enemies, and it's a right bastard. And it took me a few attempts, but I got through it, got through to the end, got through to K. Rool. Worked out his patterns of 1, 2, 3, took him down. I was like, yes, I was well chuffed. Ran downstairs to get my camera phone to come upstairs to take a photograph to prove I'd done it and put it on Twitter. And now I come back upstairs and the game's carrying on and I'm dead. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell happened there? So I replayed the level again, beat him again. And then I realised it rolls the credits and then it says, the end, but is it? And I'm like, shit. And then you have to fight K. Rool again. He does a few more moves on you and he jumps over your head. So I couldn't work that out at first either because the way he jumps, he doesn't jump that high. And I thought couldn't figure it out. I was like, well, he's not jumping over me because he's not jumping high enough, so I'm not going to be able to get underneath him. And then, he's too big, so I can't jump over him. I couldn't work it out. So it took me a few attempts before I realised that you just stand there and he jumps over you. And anyway, I did it, clocked the game, really happy. Absolutely love Donkey Kong Country. So I need to get 2 and 3 now and play through those because the first one was so impressive. I had a lot of fun playing that title. So that's the first game I picked up. Second game I picked up is a classic. Not the version that's my personal favourite in the series, unfortunately, because I haven't been able to find that in decent enough condition for a good price yet. But what I did get was the first game, and that is, you'll probably know, Street Fighter 2, The World Warrior. Yeah, in absolutely fantastic condition. Very happy. It's the only downside to this when I got it, unfortunately, I didn't notice this on the auction, was that the back plate of the cartridge has got small patches of yellow, but I will just get a cheap game and just switch out the back plate because it doesn't really matter. Other than that, the box, the manual, the cartridge itself, the front plate and the label and the manual and all the leaflets, everything's in great shape. Yeah, playing that is, oh, it's criminal. I'm so used to playing Turbo now, and you go back to Street Fighter World Warrior, and it's so slow. I mean, I remember playing the PAL version in the early 2000s. I lived with my best mate for like a year, and he had a PAL Super Nintendo at the time. I remember playing PAL Street Fighter 2, and it was criminal. It was just absolutely unplayable. It was that slow. So I played the NTSC version the other day, and it's bad. And you know, not having played the PAL version for over 10 years now, I would hate to play that if that's what the American version plays like. But it's just really weird going back because it's slow as anything. You don't have some of the moves that you get in Turbo, like you can't do a mid-air hurricane kick, which for me is a real letdown because it's one of my favourite moves and it's very helpful tactically as well. You don't get all the extra outfits, you can't play as the bosses, you don't get the iconic Street Fighter speech, which for me is something that really, I just love that, and it's just not having that really sucks. But you know, I've got it anyway, and I'm really happy to have Street Fighter 2 in the collection. Obviously, it's a classic. So I will be getting Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, and Street Fighter Alpha 2 again. So I will get all four again like last time. So yeah, those are the two games I picked up. I have got a third game that's on its way. It just left America earlier this evening. So it's going to take about a week because the international shipping at the moment, it takes ages because of the global shipping program with eBay. They've decided to route everything through France for some reason. So it goes from America to France through, what was the airport in France? The customs place. Ah, Christ. I think it's Charles de Gaulle. I'm not sure. But anyway, it takes a while because it has to go through French customs and then it goes across the channel to us. So yeah. And then it has to go to about 3 different bloody delivery companies in the UK for some reason before it gets dropped off. It's mental. You watch the tracking, it just blows your mind the amount of different companies and customs it goes for. But yeah, that'll get here and I'll do a video for that and I'll show you what the game is because I'm really excited to play that one. I'm looking forward to that a lot. So that's the Super Nintendo, guys. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm rebooting my retro collection. I'm going to get this channel back on the retro road because quite frankly, there hasn't been enough retro on this channel for a long time. And I've been diversifying, which is a good thing. You know, also the channel has to represent me as a person, otherwise what's the point? You know, that's what I watch other people's channels for. I want to see videos about their personality and the things they're interested in, not just the gaming side. So I will keep all the other stuff on the channel, but I want to try and make more retro and make the retro the focus like it used to be, because I know that's what people subscribe to my channel for in the first place. That's what you guys want to watch, I assume. If not, let me know, but I would assume it is. So that's the Super Nintendo sorted out, and of course I went and bought one more console because I couldn't resist it. It was a phenomenal deal, and I really wanted to get one anyway. So yeah, I picked up a Sega Genesis Model 1. Not just a Sega Genesis Model 1 though. It is a non-TMSS Model 1 Genesis, high definition graphics model. And if you don't know what that means, it just basically means that at some stage there's a load of licensing issues with games and whatnot. I haven't really read too much on the details, so I'm not going to go too into it. But all I know is that the later models of the Genesis had this TMSS put into the system and it buggered up the sound quality. So when you turn the console on, you get a licensing message on the screen, then it boots into the game. The original early models don't do that. You turn it on, it boots straight into the game, and you get really crisp sound. You don't get that classic Mega Drive Genesis distorted bullshit sound. You get the really nice clean sound like you get on a Japanese Mega Drive. So I was hunting down a non-TMSS model. Now, I'm really happy with the one I got. It's an absolutely fantastic edition. It was listed as needing a clean, which I could see on the photographs it was dirty. It got dust and all kinds of shit all over it. But it didn't look that badly damaged, and I just assumed, oh, it's just a loose console. He's picked up at a flea market or something. It's probably scratched to hell. I'm going to have to do a bit of TLC. But the price was phenomenal, so I thought, well, you know what, why not? Luckily, when it came, it wasn't that scratched. It's got a couple of light scratches, top and bottom, nothing major. I took it apart, give it a good soapy bath, cleaned it all inside and out, put it all back together, got some WD-40, polished it up. Looks a treat. Really happy with it. And the best thing of all, most people on American eBay, if they have a non-TMSS model and they know what that is all about, they will list, because there are ways of finding them without actually going by a seller who actually lists it as a non-TMSS, because like the one-chip SNES, if a seller knows what they've got, they'll crank the price up and take the piss. But for some reason, there were about 4 on there at the time when I bought this, and this particular seller listed it as a non-TMSS. He talked about the region locking and about the sound quality. He knew it all. He knew exactly what he was talking about. And he sold it by now $20. And then normally, to give you an idea, you're looking at around about 80 to 100 with most people who know what they're selling. So I was blown away. I was like, why is that $20? Now I didn't buy it straight away because the global shipping program always goes for priority shipping. So I think the shipping came in at like $60, which is about 40 quid. So $20 is around about 12 to 15 quid depending on the exchange rate at the time, plus another 40 for delivery. It doesn't seem like that great a deal, but you know, it's still better than paying $100, which is like 60 quid, and then paying another 60 to ship the bloody thing, you know, and import tax and all that. So yeah, it worked out well. I was really happy. And the weird thing was I left it on my watch list for a few days, like several days, because I wasn't sure if I was going to go for it because of the shipping cost. And I was absolutely amazed nobody in America bought it. You know, $20. I thought someone would have snatched his bloody hand off. I mean, it's $20 for the console, 2 pads, the power supply, and the RF coaxial cable, which is irrelevant because I can't use that and I never would. So yeah, really chuffed. Got a Genesis Model 1. I haven't bought any games for it yet. I have got a couple of loose games just knocking around I've picked up over the time that I've been on YouTube. So I've been playing those. I've got Street Fighter and a couple of others like Magical Hat and NBA Jam. So that's all good. But yeah, I'll be picking up Genesis games at some point because they're still quite relatively cheap for complete box games. So I'll be getting a load of them and I'll be stacking them up and all. So that's really where I'm at the moment. It's Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, back on the 16-bit train. I think it's probably pretty obvious to most people who've watched me for a long time, because that's really where my heart is when it comes to retro gaming. 16-bit 2D gaming is the best generation in my opinion. Of all generations, it's the one I've enjoyed the most, had the most fun with, and has the most diversity in terms of games as well. So that's where I want to be for the time being. Going forward, yeah, there'll be more consoles I want to pick up. There's a couple I have in mind. One in particular I'm definitely going to pick up at some point. That'll be down the line. Another thing I'm going to do is change that over there, the TV area. The unit I've got at the moment, you may have seen in my previous videos when I built the game room. I'm going to change that. I've got a couple of Kallax units over there and I put my records in. I'm going to get 3 more Kallax units, put them over there, and have it like J Cybersnake 7. Put the TVs up on there, the consoles. I mean, that'll give me a load of square sections where I can put the consoles in. I think it looks really nice, a nice way to display your systems and your TVs. So I'm going to do that as well. Yeah, that's it really, guys. Just wanted to let you know what's happening, where I'm going to go with the collecting. You know, I mean, it's all pretty obvious stuff really. You probably worked it all out anyway. But you know, thought I'd let you know what's happening and show you the games I've picked up, the consoles I've picked up. And as I say, when that new Super Nintendo game arrives, I will make an individual video. And I'll do it old school like I did before, where I used to pick the game up, show you the game, what's in the box, the condition, all of that, and do a little gameplay on the end of it as well. So thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the consoles I picked up, the games I picked up, you know, any experiences you've had with these systems and games, any recommendations for games is always good. Obviously, Super Nintendo, I'm pretty versed on that, but anything you can think of that I might not have thought of. And yeah, look forward to your comments as always, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.